These are all pilgrimages. So today, Galilee. And of course, Galilee was the place where Jesus spent the majority of his time of ministry. And it's also, remember in Matthew, right after his resurrection, the angel came and said, Jesus said to go to Galilee and he'd meet them there, but then he comes and says the same, do not be afraid, go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee, there they will see me. So Galilee is, I guess, close to the heart of Jesus, if that's where he asked the disciples to return in the Gospel according to Matthew. So let's continue. This is Israel at the time of Jesus. Compliments have been fixed. And you can see the different regions. So Galilee is up there near the top. It's the yellow one. And it borders on the Sea of Galilee, part of it. And the Mediterranean over on the west. Here you can see the ancient Galilee map. Also compliments have been. And those little cities around the Sea of Galilee, Capernaum, that's familiar. Tiberias was actually a Roman, it's still there, a Roman town. And that's where all of the Roman official things went on in Tiberias. This boat is built to match up with what they think the fishing boats of Jesus' time would have been like. So that's the sort of boat Jesus and the disciples would have been on when they went out on the Sea of Galilee. This is the shore of the Sea of Galilee. And you can see those dark rocks are all basalt. They're from the volcanoes that used to be in this region. Long gone, but it's a very evocative place, as you can tell. Especially this mist on the water is extra cool. And this landscape is pretty similar to what it would have been when Jesus was there. This spot, Primacy of St. Peter, is a small chapel that was built by, I think the Franciscans built this. And inside is, you can see the rocky shore here, and inside is a really big rock. See, this is the traditional spot of the place that the disciples came to Jesus after the resurrection when he called them to come and have breakfast, and they realized that it was the Lord. So this is a spot that marks that, and it's quite beautiful. It's a very simple chapel inside. And then there, of course, are beautiful, like, hints of wildlife around. The birds out in the shallow part of the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee tends to, the water level goes up and down based on the usage and also just the weather conditions. So the second time I was in Israel, it was quite low. You can see the boat out there. There is a closer up view of a fishing boat, and you can see it hasn't changed a whole lot from, and this is a traditional way of fishing. You can see that the net has weights and then it's cast out, and it's hard to see, but the weights spread out into a circle so that it sinks down and then it can be drawn in. So that's a traditional sort of fishing net. This fish is called a St. Peter's fish. It's a lot like our tilapia, but this is the fish that's native to the Sea of Galilee. And when you go to Tiberias and eat in the restaurant, you can get St. Peter's fish to eat. And there are lots of cats hoping you'll drop some. Now, also along the Sea of Galilee is a place called Tagba, and this is where traditionally Jesus did the multiplication of the loaves and fishes. The Holy Land has got all these places assigned to these events. And of course, we don't have any way of knowing, but pilgrims go to these spots, which really makes them holy on their own. The floor of this one has got the bread and the fish. This is a really old Byzantine mosaic. So Capernaum, along the Sea of Galilee, it was destroyed by earthquakes eventually, and they've reconstructed a lot of it. There's a big church built over what they believe were the remains of Peter's house. And they believe that because inside are early Christian symbols, so who knows, but it was definitely a holy place back early in the 2nd century. This is a olive press. And the synagogue where Jesus taught, this is the Roman version of it, but down below is the flooring that Jesus would have actually stood on. So that's a pretty much sure place where Jesus was. Then in Nazareth, which is also part of Galilee, that's a very sacred spot for Christians because of the fact that Mary lived there and Jesus spent his childhood there. See, there's a huge church to Mary with mosaics. People have done mosaics from all over the world along the walls to honor her, and it's beautiful. The different mosaics are all little just works of art. It's gorgeous, and this is a labyrinth around her statue. Then the 1st century village gives you a feel for what life would have been like in the time of Jesus. And we saw a few of these slides last week when we left to go to Jerusalem. But you can see how a sheep pen would have looked. And the gate is there where the man is standing. And it's constructed out of these pieces of wood as well. And that's an olive grove, and you can see how it's terraced. Then spinning and carpentry, very typical of the time. And the lighting would have been with these little